I shouldn't have gone from success to nothing because someone passed away. What actually happened was that my unconscious wasn't actually allowing me to have any of the success. We were making about $400,000 a month and spending about $380. 10 to me, 10 to him. And the reason why I say probably is I wasn't tracking any of it. I just knew what was coming in and I didn't know what was going out. We're going to dive straight into some work about the superconscious journey. So, this journey that we're all on together is a very important one. And I spent, the first 30-something years of my life going around and around and around and around in oscillation. And what I really wanted to do was, for me, I wanted to be able to build a business and make money. And I thought if I could make enough money and do that, then I could find out what life was about. That was kind of my thing. I thought, well, if I could do that, then that wouldn't be a problem, because where I grew up, it was a problem. I didn't have the ability to be able to go and do everything I want. In fact, the reason why I live in the Gold Coast is my awesome parents, they had a timeshare, and they would bring us over here on a timeshare. And, you can buy like a little timeshare, and then once every 2 years, I'd have enough like credits to be able to get a place in Coolangatta down the road. And we'd fly from New Zealand over here for the special holiday once every 2 or 3 years. And I remember asking my dad, being like, why don't we live here? This is amazing. We would go to the theme parks and, the beaches. And I was like, this is so good. Why don't we live here? And he said, well, if we lived here, where would we go for holidays? And how things stick in your mind? I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7, that doesn't make any sense, man. You wouldn't need a holiday, dude. What? But anyway, so, I set the intention way back then that I wanted to live in a place like this and those things. But I didn't grow up around having money or having anyone that has money. New Zealand's more socialist than it is capitalist. It's not about that at all. In fact, we even have a thing called tall poppy. I believe Australia has this thing called tall poppy. And it's where a metaphor of sticking your head out too far, you're going to get chopped off. So in New Zealand, it always strikes me whenever I go home, everyone dresses down. No one wants to be the one wearing the Rolex and being the winner or driving a Lamborghini. They don't want to go for things. They want to dress down. They want to stay the same. They don't want to be in that way. So for me, growing up there, I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I was this person that wanted big things. I liked luxury stuff. I wanted to go for it. I wanted to be successful. And I felt like I didn't belong. So I found my way into personal development. And just like many of you, this isn't my first time being at a course. Has anyone else been to at least one other course before? So I went to tons, right? I went to Anthony Robbins seminars and I did all of his stuff, and I just kept going to course after course, and then started going right down the healing under this one idea. And the one idea was that the way I wasn't going to allow me to have what I wanted. Does that make sense? The way that I was wouldn't allow me to have it. I needed to think different, be different. I needed to meditate. I needed to, eat different. I had to be different. Does that make sense? I had to be different. And I would turn up to these courses and they'd say, all right, write down all of your problems, or, dream bigger. And I was like, how big do I, what do I, and so it was so strange to me. So I just kept going round and around and around. And in 2016, I had a $4.5 million business, thought I was doing everything great. And then all of a sudden I lost it all. And it's still, in my mind, is the hardest ever phone call I ever received when I found out my friend had been killed in a motorcycle crash, and I went from, riding this wave of business success to nothing. And in hindsight, I shouldn't have gone from success to nothing because someone passed away. I'll tell you what actually happened. What actually happened was that my unconscious wasn't actually allowing me to have any of the success. So we were making about $400,000 a month and spending about $380. 10 to me, 10 to him. That was probably about what it was. And the reason why I say probably is I wasn't tracking any of it. I just knew what was coming in and I didn't know what was going out. So when he passed away, that business fell away, but it was all because of this. It wasn't because I had an unfortunate experience. It was because of this. So then I didn't have him as my supporter, but I also didn't have any business because he was the one that would do what I had sold. What was worse is I had a digital marketing agency and he was the running the ads and building the websites, right? That's not what I didn't know how to do that. So I had all these people Still sucks. They'd paid me tons of money. I couldn't do what they'd paid me for. So I had to ring them and be like, I can't do it. Like, there's no way, and I've got no cash, I'm screwed. And some of them are really nice, and others were just like, well, it's either you or me. So sue, getting sued. And so there I am getting sued. My friend has died. And the one thing I'm trying to avoid is that those people suing me, which is also him, don't get his family, right? So now I'm going to battle not just for me and trying to keep us out of, a head above water, but also making sure that this family that's grieving don't now have to be like, oh yeah, and by the way, here's you need to turn up to court to face this. And so what I did is I didn't know what else to do, is I just got back out there, built a company back to 2 million, but I made the exact same mistake. So instead of dealing with this, I had this huge fear of failure. See, the reality was it really sucked. The reality was me and his family were in it together. That was the reality. But my unconscious agenda couldn't handle the failure. So what did I do? I took all of that debt on, the IRD debt, because you have to dissolve a company. So you have to pay all the tax, like everything. It's crazy, by the way. Key tip: get key person insurance, which stands for a key person. Any key person in the business, if anything happens to them, you can actually be insured for them passing away. Something I learned a long time ago. So I take on all the debt. It was about $200,000 a month that I needed to come up with just to keep my head above water. And because I'm a maniac, I went out there and started selling like crazy, right? And I was able to pay all the bills back. But guess what? I'm still only making now as much as I'm spending. I was living in the exact same structure. So what happens? It all becomes too much. The next business partner and we have conflict, and he decides that he's not going to pay me any of the money. So it had been long enough that I cleared out all the bills, but I was now in an even worse position. So I decide that I'm going to start an agency. I'm going to help other people. So I start another business, make all this money for someone who finds out that my visa in the US was based because of this partner who had now died. So my visa's not valid. So he says, well, your visa's not valid. Everything you've done here is actually illegal. So I'm not going to give you the money again. So in 2017, Harriet and I packed up our house in Texas where we were living. And, we got on a plane and we went to the UK. And I remember sitting on that plane just in absolute disbelief. Like, how is it that I keep on creating this chaos over and over and over and over and over again? I had no awareness of what I'm teaching to you guys. I had no idea that it was my unconscious having no ability to accept failure. If I just accept the failure, that a bad thing happened, it would have all happened. If I had just been allowed to actually receive success, which my unconscious would never allow me to receive success, because in New Zealand, if you're the one at the top receiving all the success, you're going to get cut down. So I was never conditioned that I could allow it. So I wasn't allowed to have the success and I wasn't allowed to fail. Always in this battle between the 2 points. Can anyone relate? Always just battling. Never being here, just in this fight. So as you guys know, I got to meet a really profound individual who was a self-made billionaire, and I actually thought he was going to save me. And so I went there and pitched this business, and the business was called Conscious Education TV. And I had this media platform idea, and if anyone subscribes to Gaia TV, I had that idea, and they implemented and won. But I had that idea, and I was like, I'm going to create Conscious TV. He loved the idea. He's like, this is awesome. I was in Austin, and it was going to go great. And the truth is he said to me, Chris, I really love the idea, but I'm not going to invest in it because of you. I'm not going to invest because of you. He said, because you are this. You are not able to have success. You can't have it. You have to be a chaser. He said, your unconscious identity is going to enroll me in this, that you can never have it. And also he said, and you can't fail. You're not allowed to fail, so you don't get any learnings. He said, if you're not able to fail, you'll never have success. If you're not allowed to be out of control, you'll never be controlled. He said, if you're not able to have your heart broken, you'll never be able to love. He said, if you're not able to have these things, you'll never have it because you're too busy trying to protect the downside. And he said, I know if I give you this money, it's going to get sucked up into this field. And so he was a very smart guy. And he said, so I love the idea, but you're addicted to this. He said, you need to realize that you must be it to see it. He said, right now you're being this. You're being the it that's always overthinking. You're being it. You're always trying to, you can't fail. You can't be successful. You're being this. And you're just trying to fix it and change it. And you're stuck in that muck. He said, you must be it to see it. And I was like, well, what is it? And he said to me, the first time I ever heard, he said, you must be it. And the it is superconscious. He said, you're not flesh, you're not blood, you're not bones, you're not that. You're a superconscious energy having a human experience. He said, when you're that, none of this matters. And the best way I can describe it now is that you live without a past. You live without a past, you become a creator. And he said to me, Chris, you need to learn how to let that go. You need to be it. When you're the it, I'll happily give you the money. He gave me some books. I'm going to be sharing you what I learned from him over these next few days. But he gave me a book about Enneagram. He gave me a book about integrating my shadow. He gave me a book about what the superconscious was, creativity. He introduced me to some people. This led me on this journey to meet William Whitecloud, Colette Stryker, Simone Wright, Richard Bartlett, these amazing people I tell you all about. And I gathered all of their wisdom to finally let go of that guy, right? And how many of you guys seen the picture of the Chris with the dreadlocks? To let go of the Chris with the red dreadlocks that was smoking pot and partying as a DJ. I had to let that guy die, right? He doesn't know how to be here. He doesn't know this. He had to leave. And instead of trying to fix him or deal with his problems or his challenges or his insecurities, he had to go. And my friends reached out. They were worried about me. Your friends are the ones that, if they really care about you, are going to try to hold you back the most.